Hi everyone, it's Margaret Lua and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be painting in plein air at Alviso Marina County Park in Santa Clara. It's been getting warmer out recently, so I thought it would be fun to paint in plein air during sunset at Alviso. This park is really nice because it has flat walking trails next to these beautiful salt pond and marshes. And it's hard to see in this video, but the water was quite red during my visit, which is caused by the salinity and algae and bacteria in the water. But after walking a bit on the trail, I found a nice spot for me to paint the hills in the background of the red salt pond. It ended up being quite windy by the water, so I had to make sure to hold on to my painting so it wouldn't fly away while I was working on it. And since I'm pretty new to plein air painting, which is simply painting outdoors, I chose to paint a small 4x6 Arches oil painting paper, which I just taped to a piece of cardboard. And a quick note, this video isn't sponsored by anyone, so if you want to support me and my work, you can subscribe to my channel or like and share this video. That really helps me out a lot. So my plein air setup includes a box and paint pochade box that nicely carries my oil paints and palette and has nice side shelves to hold my paintbrushes. The box also has a tripod mount on the bottom, so I was able to use my camera tripod to hold my box. And then before coming out to paint, I filled in my palette with the different colors that I thought I was going to need on this trip. But as I mentioned, I'm still relatively new to plein air painting, so I'm still learning to get better at painting outdoors and from life. And so I was really eager to get started on this painting, both because I just wanted to get started and because it was starting to get cold. So I didn't mentally map out my plan for the painting and just started with the horizon line. I think if I were to start my painting again, I would have mapped out the shapes that I saw from the hills and pond and shadows in addition to the horizon line, so I could use them as reference points as I filled in the details. I cut out a little viewfinder to help me see the composition, and I think that was a really great starting point for me. I also quickly found out that my colors got a bit muddy as I worked in the shadows and lights on the hills, so that's something I want to get better at avoiding. But even though I made mistakes while painting, I still really enjoyed the process and challenge of painting outdoors. I haven't painted outdoors in almost a year, and even though it feels obvious now, I forgot to add that I had to factor in the weather and the changing light while I painted. And I chose to come at sunset, which with the angle of the sun really created these drastic changes in the shadows, minute to minute, which makes it a very interesting painting, but was something I had to think about. But I'm glad I didn't really overthink my trip beforehand, because I think it's really important to just get out there and paint and experience things in the moment rather than worrying about the details and what might happen beforehand. I think the beauty of plein air painting is that you don't really know what you're going to paint, because every day and every minute is different in temperature and sunlight and what you're able to see. So it's more important that you get outside and experience these things. And although I kind of had like a broad sense of what I was going to paint with the water and the hills, you can't plan for how the clouds will come by and the wind and the colors of the sunset, which is all part of the process. And then if you make mistakes in the process, it's a nice way for you to learn from your experiences. I ended up painting for about 30 minutes on this trip, even though I wanted to stay a bit longer. But as the sun set, it was getting quite cold, so I had to wrap things up. But overall, I had a really great time painting outdoors. I think my lessons learned from this trip include bringing gloves, because my fingers got quite cold pretty quickly. I also, as I mentioned, think that I should lightly sketch out the main shapes and shadows first before really painting, and then to clean out my brushes better between the lights and darks of the painting to prevent the colors from getting too muddy. I'm hoping to paint in plein air more this month, and I'm looking forward to seeing how my paintings progress and what else I can learn from the process. I think it could be an interesting exercise to come to the same location during different times of the day to see how the paintings differ. It'll also be interesting to see how painting outdoors will shape my painting practice in the studio. So let me know if you've ever painted outdoors. I'd love to read about your experiences and any tips you have in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.